Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Season 3, Episode 5, In Dreams. I really, really love this episode. I thought it had some really great special effects in this one, especially with all the different dream stuff. You kind of have to have a ton of different crazy things going on, so that was really cool. I enjoyed the actual action we got to see in this episode, which was mostly the turtles getting beat up, but I enjoyed them at least trying to fight a little bit. I thought the action was pretty sweet. The story itself I thought was pretty good. You could tell this was their true Halloween episode, even though it's a little bit late. This was a really good one. They even had Robert Englund, who's the guy who's Freddy Krueger. He was two of the Beavers, and then the other two were played by the same person. And that guy is the guy who was the voice for the Crypt Keeper. So that was really cool. It was like clearly their horror based episode. Even some of the stuff they had, like as soon as I saw it, I knew like this is a reference to something else. And when Casey and April went to the grocery store, as soon as I saw that giant chainsaw, the first thing I thought of was Evil Dead. And then right after that, when Casey goes behind the counter and he sees the book like kind of locked up, it was like a reference to Evil Dead again, because that's like two of the really big things of Evil Dead is like the Book of the Dead, and then of course Ash has a chainsaw on his arm. And so it was really cool they had those little references in there, because if you know the series Evil Dead, then it's like big chainsaw, especially because it had red on the end, because it's just like that in the movie. It's like I see this big chainsaw, I think Evil Dead, and then you combine the big chainsaw with the book, is like of course I think Evil Dead. The Beavers of course had to remind you of Freddy Krueger, especially with the way they first showed up, because all you would see is like the claws, so it was like the first thing you would think of is Freddy Krueger, and they did that on purpose. So I thought it was really cool the way they did the references, because they made perfect sense. The Beavers, initially I just thought it was one Beaver, he was just saying he was different, and then once it got to like the crazy one, I was like, okay, no, it's definitely separate Beavers, and I didn't know if he had to split himself up or whatever, but it's just four different Beavers, and they mess with the turtles and stuff, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty cool. And Casey and April had to figure out what the heck is going on with the turtles and stuff, and I just really loved it. I thought it was a great episode. I think my favorite stuff was definitely with Donnie. They did the greatest special effects with him. Like he was running, and like he would continuously run through different scenes and stuff, and he was running and the background was spinning behind him, or he would run through something and then like burst out of a refrigerator and stuff, and it was just really cool, like all the special effects they used, and how it was just kind of mentally mind warping, because it took place within a dream. And it was a totally different episode when I first started watching it, though. It was like, okay, I thought they were in New York, and then it's like Donnie's by himself, so something weird is happening, he's dreaming. And then they had the stuff with Leo, and then he touched the meteor, and I'm like, okay, so this episode is going to focus on him, but it's gonna have like this weird side story where they help Donnie get out of the dream, and then it's like, nope, it's just all a dream, and it's all really weird stuff. And I actually thought that was pretty cool, because I really thought Leo slept until the night, and then they show Mikey and Raph, and it's still like broad daylight, and it's like, okay, he's trapped in a dream now too. So it was really cool. I enjoyed that. The guy who like was staying awake for 40 years, I liked him. He was really just crazy, and he trying to kill Casey with the chainsaw. But I thought that was funny. Like, and then they solve everything by the end, and they come out, and he's like freaks out, like, I've been protecting the world from this for 40 years, and they're just like little like plushies, as he put it. And I thought that was really funny. It's like I was looking on the TMNT wiki to see if these characters were like old characters or not, but based on what I read, they're brand new. They were made for the show, and I think they're kind of a nice fit for just like a one-off little thing, and it was really funny. And they're like references to Freddy Krueger, as well as the Care Bears, because they have the different symbols on the chest and stuff. So it was just really funny. I thought it was a good episode. It had its really silly moments. It had some pretty cool action, like when the turtles finally were all in the same dream, and they were like fighting, and they were basically upside down, and I thought that looked really cool. Like, they were all upside down, but not everything else was. So they were in the sewer, and like the goo or whatever that was on the pipe was sticking up instead of down, and their bandanas were all going up because it was like reverse gravity, but they were sticking to the surface they were on. So it just looked really cool, and that was like a small fight scene, but I enjoyed that, and just the way everything worked out was pretty cool. And of course, it was a really funny ending, and they came out, I was like, okay, they're gonna have this big epic fight, and of course the turtles are gonna win, because they aren't being completely overpowered by what was basically magic, considering they were in a dream. and so they're gonna take these beavers out because the beavers aren't as strong when they're in the real world. It would be just like Freddy Krueger. And then they come on, they're just like tiny itty bitty actual beavers. They just happen to have a lot of power if they're in the dream world. And it was funny. It was like I would have loved to have seen a really cool epic fight, and they just like took these guys out. But that was really funny too. Like I just flew through the episode, so I didn't even realize that I was at the end when it happened. But I really enjoyed this episode. I think it was a great, real Halloween based episode. And they've had a couple really. Like every time something happens, it's just like a horror type of thing in the woods. Just weird stuff keeps happening over and over again. But I love this episode. This might actually be my favorite one so far. Like, I think I'd have to put this one like just a little bit above the one where they actually talked about the Krang and April's mother and all that stuff. Just because it kind of just hooked me in. It was like it had all the cool references. It was funny, but it also had good action and suspense because I was like, I don't really know how they're going to get out of this. So I think I really enjoyed this one. This might be my favorite episode this season so far. So, of course, comment below. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And, I really enjoyed this one. So I have to ask, like, if they have more characters and they stay in the woods, which I have to assume they're gonna do for quite some time, maybe until like the middle of the season, they probably won't head back. So if there are other characters that you know of from the Ninja Turtles franchise, whether it's from the comic books or if you saw like TMNT when that came out, because I think that's what a lot of people around my age first saw, or if you did see the 80s show, like I only have like 3 episodes of that. I've only seen maybe 6 or so. But if there's like any character that you think would fit into the series at this point before they actually head back to New York City, which characters would you put in there? Like, who do you want to see attack them, that wouldn't instantly lead them, back to New York City? Because I'd love to see them take on Baxter inside the forest, but that would kind of automatically lead them right back to New York. So, who would you like to see, and, why would you like to see him? Comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.